On today's episode of the Mark Titus Show, the Denver Nuggets take care of business in Game 3 of the Finals. 109-94. Kind of a blowout, kind of not a blowout. There for a second, it felt like the most dangerous lead in sports is, in fact, as we know, as we've learned in these playoffs, the most dangerous lead in sports is being up by 15 on these Miami Heat in the NBA playoffs. And there for a second, or two, maybe, I don't know, I'll give the Heat some credit. It felt like maybe, kind of, sort of, we were going to see another incredible comeback. But in the end, way too much Nikola Jokic, way too much Jamal Murray, way too much Christian Braun? Christian Braun just absolutely dominated this game in a way that only a dude can that scores, what do you have, like 15 points was all? Which it didn't even feel like that much. Like when I think back on it, like the Christian Braun plays were just like slashing to the basket, slashing to backdooring guys on defense and driving to the basket and dishing it off to Jokic. He had the one dunk that was awesome, but like he had the heat check jump shot in the corner that hit the side of the backboard that cracked me up. But my God, Christian Braun was incredible tonight, and he was kind of the story of the game. But Nuggets take care of business. It was sort of a ho-hum game, sort of the kind of game that I expected out of the finals. I expected to see a lot of this, just with more made shots. Miami didn't really shoot it well. Denver didn't really shoot it well. I expected both teams to shoot better than what they did. But in general, the Nuggets are a much better team. But also, we've been here before, and this is kind of what we talked about last show, is that Game 1, the Nuggets win kind of easily, and you're left thinking, is this going to be a sweep? Is this going to be Denver cruising to a title? And then the Heat showed up in Game 2 and stole Game 2. So who the hell knows what's going to happen? But right now, as it sits after tonight, the Nuggets took care of business in a big way. So we'll talk about some other stuff too. I don't know, the LIV PGA situation. That's like, what the hell is going on in terms of, like, I know what's happening, but I can't tell who's in whose pocket, TJ. Like, this is very confusing. Like, reading all the reactions to this, I had like what I thought was my reaction, but then I'm reading other people's reaction, and then some people are like, this is actually great for the PGA. And I'm like, well, who's paying you to say that? And other people are like, this is terrible for golf. And then who's paying me to pretend to be confused by all of it, TJ? This goes all the way to the top. This is officially insane, this PGA Tour situation. Officially insane. But maybe we'll talk about that. I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about UFOs again, because I've slept on that a little bit, and I don't know. I would like to flesh that out a little more. I don't know. We'll see. And TJ's in Chicago. I want to talk to you about that. What's going on there? Because you may or may not had a crazy travel day. I don't really know. You just got to the hotel and sat down, but you're flying in from New York, which looks like an absolute apocalypse going on right now. So I need to hear all about this stuff. We'll talk about the basketball, obviously, but not a ton to dig into. So we'll have some fun on the back half of the show coming up. Let's get to it. All right, we'll talk about Game 3 soon enough. Apologies to the Braun family if you're tuning in just to hear me talk about your son. I promise I will. I will, as they say in NBA Reddit parlance, I will give that man his flowers. We will. I don't know why I did that. Why would I do that? Why would I? You know what broke me today was watching you guys on the Yak talking about the kid. First of all, I don't know what does Riz even mean. I'm showing my age, obviously.
I was gonna say, I thought you were gonna say, what does baby Gronk even mean?
What does baby Gronk even mean? But watching all that, the baby Gronk does he give the Riz or does he get the Riz?
He has Riz, and
he
Riz is. It's like a verb and a noun.
I think that must have broke me and like put me in a headspace where I'm like 14 right now or something. I don't know why I said that about Christian Braun, but I want to start with you're in Chicago. Yes. You are in Chicago for the Dozen Final Four live show, which everybody watch that. If you're listening to this on Thursday, and most people probably are, if you're listening or watching on YouTube on Thursday, it will be tonight. The live show will be live. It is both live in the sense that if you have a ticket, you can go and you can see the Final Four teams participating. If you don't have a ticket, you can watch it live on YouTube. So please do that, because Jeff DeLoe works really hard on this, and I want to give that man. No, I'm kidding. No, watch it. It's awesome. It's one of the best things Barstool does, and it'll be a ton of fun. But then I guess that leads to the first question, TJ. Did you win? Are you in Chicago because your team won?
I did not.
Did you make the Final Four?
Unfortunately, Brandon leaked the script a little bit early. But I'm here as a supporter and as a friend. And also, we're doing the Yak tomorrow. So I'm here on business.
So who break down the dozen for everybody. It's the Yak who was the 1 seed. They play Minahan, is that correct?
Yes.
Who's the 4 seed? What's and I don't take this the wrong way, both TJ and Kirk and anyone else listening. But what's Kirk's deal? Like I know of him a little bit. I've seen him around. I have not like dabbled in the Kirk Minahan universe enough, but like the clips I see of him are kind of funny. But then I also like sometimes see some stuff where I'm like, is this man out of his mind? Yeah. Which is kind of par for the course of Barstool, I think.
Kirk's fascinating.
But if you could sum him up in like an elevator pitch, what's the Kirk Minahan pitch?
He's like a Boston like traditional radio legend that kind of like ruffled some feathers on his way out of that industry, and now he does like his own thing, and he has a very, very, very passionate fan base.
Yeah,
the Mina fans that follow his word as God in like sometimes a literal sense. He crucified himself in a live show last year.
That's what I saw.
I think he's super interesting. He's super like controversial. He's abrasive. You either like him or you don't like him. I haven't had that many like a reason to not like him. So
that's why I prefaced before I said it. I was like, I don't want any of the Mina fans to take this the wrong way when I say what's Kirk's deal. I don't.
Well, because they will probably listen to this clip on the show tomorrow. Yes. And
I'm not trying to. I'm genuinely just kind of ignorant, but like respectful ignorance. It's like I find him fascinating, but I'm also like not really fully aware of the story. So this is helpful, but also he takes this very seriously as well, right? Yeah. The dozen, like this
he's 3-time MVP in 3 seasons.
And so him and the ideal matchup if Jeff were to rig it, and he's not going to rig it, even though it's 1 seed versus 4 seed. Versus 3 seed versus 2 seed, and if he was in fact to rig the dozen, it would look exactly like what it looked like.
Yeah.
And last year's tournament had a million upsets, and a 10 seed ended up winning the tournament when we weren't selling tickets and we weren't doing a live show. And then this year we need to sell out an arena or venue, and strangely, Dan's team made it. Big Cat's team made it. Yeah. Did Dave's team make it?
Yeah.
Dave Portnoy. That's wild. Dave Portnoy is it? That's El Prez, right?
Right.
That's El Prez. Guy. Yeah. The pizza guy. And Kirk Minahan made it, and Brandon and PFT Commodore made it too, right? The Pardon My Take guy. He's that's interesting. So it's like a lot of the biggest names at Barstool made it to this live show. Oh, yeah. Interesting, fascinating. But if Jeff was to rig it, it would be Kirk versus Brandon. Would be. Like in terms, I don't know, but this is why Jeff's a genius. Is because the way he's got it to the Final Four is that any combination from here,
all the final matchups are good. It's either it could be Dave versus Dan, it could be Brandon versus Dave. Like all of the matchups are good.
So you literally like we just started recording as soon as you got set up in the hotel. You didn't really watch the game, which is fine. That's not what we pay you for at Barstool. I'm supposed to be the one that talks about the game. But was your travel day wild? Because what's going on in New York City? And,
I was nervous. If you were on the internet yesterday, obviously you might have seen pictures of New York. It literally was like just the movie Dune. Like it was just orange. I'd never seen anything like that. Like it was pretty smoky on Tuesday, but yesterday, or as you're listening to this, it was literally red outside.
Did it look as bad as the pictures?
Yes. Like
it was.
It didn't look real. Like you went outside, and on Tuesday it looked like it was just like a foggy day, but like you couldn't see any part of the sky. It was just gray. And then Wednesday it was just red. Like it was crazy. I don't know. Like people, deliveries were weird. Ubers were weird because nobody wanted to be outside. It was weird. I didn't know if flights were going to get messed up. Luckily, mine was only delayed like an hour. I literally just walked in to the hotel by Wrigley. But I don't know. I don't even know if the flight was bad or not. I'm such a heavy plane sleeper. I have no idea if it was a bad flight.
Out. You just get knocked out.
It looks like I've been attacked when I get on a plane. I just fall asleep, up my head up against the, and I'm a snorer, so I'm sure that just bothers the hell out of everybody around me.
Oh no!
But I don't know how to. I was asleep the whole time. I don't know how to fix that.
Are you looking for apartments? This is the weekend, right? This is the week that you're supposed to be.
I gotta survey the neighborhood around the new office to make sure I'm not buying something that's like across train tracks or you know, on a weird path.
I'm still trying to figure that out because like LA is the first big city I've lived in, and the public transportation in LA is horrendous. So like it's not something you really, if you're looking for spots in LA, you don't really like think about where the train is and everything. But when I'm walking around Chicago, I'm looking at spot like I've already figured out where I'm living, but like the thought process of like I don't want to live next to a train track because that's going to be loud. But then also the place that I ended up living, I think we're like 0.8 mile walk away from the closest train station.
Yeah.
So like now I'm like mad about it. Like what have I done? Like now I can't even utilize the, you know, so I don't know. I don't know what the algorithm says there when you're trying to figure out how close or far away to live from the train, because the office isn't close to a train stop either. I don't know. It's gonna be
there's like bus stations close. I think I might do a scooter or a Vespa or something. Some sort of small motorized thing that I could like park in the office.
Just, ride a Segway would be sick. That's how you reinvent yourself. Reinvent yourself in Chicago, TJ.
My body type isn't really conducive to the Segway. I gave those hoverboard things a try, Heelys a try. I don't think those were meant for people like me.
Hoverboards were hot for like a year and a half, and then everyone inevitably just face plants and is like, I don't think I need to do that anymore. There's still one guy that lives in my apartment complex that hoverboards around. I live right on the Marina Del Rey, and the dude will hoverboard up and down like the docks and shit. Yeah. And you want to talk about like, I mean, a daredevil. Like I see this man. Yeah,
people weave traffic with them in the city. I don't know if people realize why those are got so popular. The creator of the original Segways, like the big ones with the handlebars that people used to like ride around, like mall cops ride around in. The Segway company, the founder of that company, died by running a Segway off a cliff by accident. That's real. And because of that, eventually the Segway patent went public, like their patent expired, so anybody could make the technology inside of a Segway. So that's why like the ones that were like catching on fire, like literally blowing up, because people were just making them cheaper and cheaper, and they were everywhere for a summer because the patent expired. That's
right, they did blow up. You would either face plant or it would blow up on you. That sounds like me playing Tears of the Kingdom, by the way. Just like segueing off a cliff and just catching on fire and falling off a cliff. All right, enough of that. Let's talk about the basketball so we can get back to the stupid stuff later. So Jokic, first 30-20-10 game in NBA Finals history. Jamal Murray gets a triple-double, and somehow it's an afterthought just because Jokic, I guess it's not an afterthought. Jamal Murray was great the whole game, aggressive from the start. I thought the two complaints I had about Denver, and a lot of the time, a lot of the talk that a lot of the thoughts I have about the finals are through the lens of Denver, and part of that is, admittedly, I am cheering for Denver, but also Denver's the better team. So I think like when things are going wrong for Denver, my first instinct is like, why do they look stupid? More so than like, what is Miami doing? Which is not to say Miami should not get credit, but you know, in game two, I did feel like Denver was taking stupid shots and very impatient on offense. I felt like their defense, like we talked about, was like panicky at times, where the Heat would start hitting, and you know, they just kind of like got spooked a little bit. Like everyone was hitting for Miami, and Denver was trying to react to that, and they kind of just lost their fundamentals defensively. Tonight was a return to form in that regard, in both those regards. Like Denver did not play a perfect game. Miami obviously didn't either, which is why they lost by 15, and it wasn't really much of a game in the second half. But I thought Denver's offense, for as bad as they shot it, and what was the final from three? 5 of 18. I felt like their shot selection was awesome for the most part, especially as compared to game two. And I think that's ultimately like what was the difference for me that like stood out just watching the game, just off of like vibes and feel and all that sort of thing. Because Miami's defense has been the catalyst for this run to the finals. Miami's defense is why they're here. And we thought going into the finals that Miami's zone would not be able to work against a Jokic team, against a team with a bunch of shooters like Denver has. And it worked in game two. Yes, because Miami runs great defense, and yes, because the zone works, and yes, again, I don't want to discredit Miami, but I felt like Denver was just shooting themselves in the foot over and over and falling into the trap. And tonight there was a more concentrated effort of like let's wait till we're open to shoot shots instead of just gunning them up. They were more prepared for the zone as well. Jokic wasn't just always camping out in the at the free throw line. And the times that he was, it was like more with a purpose versus like it was almost like Denver in game 2 did not respect Miami's zone because they knew what everyone else knew, which is why we were saying it going into the finals, which is like their roster is perfectly built to beat a zone. But then like if you don't have that respect and actually play like you're capable of playing, then you're going to expose yourself. And that kind of is what I saw with Denver's offense in game 2. Tonight, that wasn't the case. And Christian Braun was a big reason why, especially in the second half with obviously the energy plays. And that's what that guy does better than most people. That's what he's great at Kansas. And that's what made him so fun. And he's just so dynamic, and he's been this way all season for the Nuggets. All season I've been watching the Nuggets. Like he's been, and if you're a college basketball fan and you're watching the Denver Nuggets play basketball, of course you're going to know Christian Braun. He won a national title at Kansas and was a big part of, and if you remember me talking about that Kansas team, like I didn't always love that Kansas team because I was confused by that Kansas team, and people fear what they don't understand, TJ. And that Kansas team was not a Bill Self Kansas team. And I was like, this is very confusing what the makeup of this team is. They go on to win a national title because Agbaji and David McCormick was awesome in the Final Four too. But having Agbaji and Christian Braun just be athletic freaks on the wing and just play through those two guys and just have energy running up and down the floor. And he's just been the same player for Denver. And tonight was, like a surprise in the sense that he's a rookie and he had 15 points. I don't know why that feels so many points. Like I watched the whole game and I saw him score a bunch. It's just like when he's impacting the game, he's not doing it by scoring. So like the fact that I don't know. Like were any of those jump shots? I wonder. I have to go back and look. I feel like none of them were. But he had 15 points. But he's been doing this all year. Not at this level, not on this stage. But like he's just such a solid player and such a winner. And I think like my fear is like people that don't follow college basketball or haven't been paying attention to him all season think that this was an anomaly and this was like a fluke or this was. And I guess, like, depending on how you define fluke, I don't expect him to score 15 points in any other game in this series. And, so I guess if that's what you want to say. But I'm not stunned by this from Christian. He had a great game, too. He was awesome in game 2 for them. He brought energy off the bench in game 2 and was making steals, deflections, running in transition. There was one play in game 2 where him and Jamal Murray are running right next to each other, and I don't know if he was smart enough to know this, but it ended up working out well. The terrible spacing, but it ends up working out well because the advanced pass comes, and it looked like it was going to Murray. Christian Braun intercepts it, and by intercepting it, he can now scoop it to Jamal Murray for a wide open shot, whereas like if Jamal Murray catches that on the run, it's more of like a fading shot, it's not like it's not as good of a shot. And I don't know if Christian Braun was smart enough to like factor in all that, but like as I was watching that play, I was like, God damn, this guy makes winning basketball plays. This is incredible. Thank God he can dunk, TJ. Thank God he's he finishes at the rim with authority and can dunk on dudes, because Christian Braun, especially on this Nuggets team right now, is every white man stereotype in a basketball game. But then he throws in the dunking piece and there's like finally something I can point to. Because I want to compliment him, but he is very much bait to just like fall into the white basketball player trap of just like describing him as an energy guy that makes winning plays and has no ego out there on the floor, just wants to do whatever it takes. But I do think he was a difference, and not that they if Christian Braun plays a C- game tonight, the way Murray and Jokic were playing, the Nuggets probably still win, and with the way Miami was playing, the Nuggets probably still win. But having him as a slasher against the zone and having him defensively bring the energy he brings, especially at a time when Michael Porter's playing like dog shit. Let's just call it what it is. Like I like Michael Porter. I'm cheering for Michael Porter to find his rhythm. I don't know if it's mental. I don't know what's going on. But he got some open looks tonight. It felt like in game 2 he was rushing shots. And it was more shot select. Like he started out with heat checks, and I think coming into game 3, it was more concentrated effort of like, let me take the wide open shots and let this come to me. And he still went 1 for 7. It was shooting open shots. So like at this point, I don't know what's going on. And the fear with Michael Porter, if you're Michael Malone, is that he is a guy who lets his offense dictate his defense. And if he's hitting shots, he's more locked in on the defensive end. If he's not as locked in. So to have a guy like Christian Braun who you can turn to and say, like you're not better than Michael Porter. You're not going to start over Michael Porter in Game 4. Like we're not getting crazy with this, but in this moment right now, when Michael Porter's not really giving us anything, and we need like a long wing to just bring some energy and be some sort of a threat on offense, to be able to point to a rookie in Christian Braun and say like, we need you in this role, and for him to step up, I thought that was awesome. And as a college basketball guy, could not be happier to see a national champion showing out in the NBA Finals, TJ.
It's great, too, because it lines up perfectly with the dozen being this week, because this will be a great trivia question 4 years from now, which this Kansas freshman out of Kansas scored 15 to help push the Nuggets past the Heat in Game 3 of the NBA.
The rookie, what rookie who won a title?
Yeah.
Yeah, and... Yeah, I'm trying to think of a way that Jeff would write it where I would be on the receiving end, and I would think he's talking about Ochai Agbaji, and he's not.
Yeah,
he's talking about Christian Braun.
And then you double sip,
And then and then he smiles and he's like, "Ah, shucks, Titus, damn, you guys. It's the fourth time you guys lost a close game this year. Damn, but you guys are still. But don't worry, you're still number 9 in our algorithm
trivia
power
efficiency
ranking. Trivia. Jeff did that to me every time we lost this year, and I wanted to break his neck. I like Jeff a lot, great guy. I wanted to break his neck when we would lose. We would lose in overtime, and Jeff would be like, so Team Smokin, you came into this match ranked 11th. You're probably not going to slide though. The computers love you. You guys are going to be. You might even go up in the rankings. This might actually be a good thing.
This is actually a good loss. Yeah,
you've lost now 4 in a row. But I was like, Jeff, shut up for the love of God.
Yeah. But this game, I think it just goes. I didn't get to watch much of it because I was on the plane. But just looking at the stat sheet, like the Nuggets are so wide in terms of like guys that score. And then they go into a game where Michael Porter has 2 points and KCP has 6 points.
KCP's not been great,
and they still win by 15. I think it just goes to show how deep they are when you have a guy off the bench that like Christian Braun that does something like this. And then on the other side, Caleb Martin, who saved them in the Eastern Conference Finals, just hasn't been that guy, and that's kind of been the difference.
I feel for Caleb Martin though, because you're almost a victim of your own success at this point. That
right
now, if like he continues to have bad games in the finals, then you almost want to blame him for the Heat not winning. But like you would not even kind of be here. You would have lost maybe in the first round if not for Caleb Martin.
Yeah.
So that's a weird, because I don't really want to pile on him too much, because like no one going into this playoffs expected Caleb Martin to play as big of a role as he has, and if he is in fact regressing to the mean in the finals, like that's if you would have told Eric Spoelstra going into these playoffs that you'll make the finals, but in Game 3 of the finals Caleb Martin will only score 10 points, have 3 assists and 3 rebounds, Spoelstra would say we probably had a pretty good chance of winning that game, right? Like that. Yeah. We don't need Caleb Martin to score more than 10 points. Who's been awesome though is Bam Adebayo. He's been incredible, and when he's matched up against Jokic, Jokic is obviously a better player. Jokic is obviously, if you want to view it as like a head-to-head matchup type deal, which is not how. If you view it that way, you have an untrained eye. In the words of Eric Spoelstra, shame on you. You have an untrained. You have no idea what you're watching. That was such a bizarre lash out. I saw that he apologized and kind of walked it back, but that was really weird. But if you have an untrained, whatever I was saying, you would think like Bam's getting worked by Jokic, whatever. Bam has been incredible. Bam has brought it at night in and night out on both ends. He's playing hard. He's hitting his jump shots. He's letting the game come to hit. 22 and 17 tonight. I've been really impressed with Bam, because like in the Boston series, like I said last show, like he is up and down, and he's been up and down throughout his career, and he's shown flashes of greatness at times, and it almost like works in his detriment, in the same way we're talking about Caleb Martin, where it's like the flashes don't actually make you want to stop criticizing him. It's the exact opposite, that you see the flashes and it makes you want to like grab him and say, why don't you do this every time? But in these finals, we're 3 games in now, and he's put up 3 A+ games as far as I'm concerned. I mean, like for what you would expect of him. You know what I mean? Like, I don't mean, like, obviously, if Jokic is an A+, then we now have to readjust Adebayo's. If 30, 20, and 10 is an A+, then yeah, Bam Adebayo is not that. But for what I'm expecting out of Bam Adebayo, he's brought it in these finals, and he's been great. But yeah, the Heat just, I think I called them a make shots team last show. It felt right. It just came out, and the more I watch them, that's what it is. It's like they had open looks. Strus was not great tonight. He was what did he end up? He's 1 of 7 from the field. Vincent is 2 for 10. Together they're 2 for 10 from the 3-point line. But they got open shots. They got some open shots. They're bricking them, and that seems to be how it goes. Like, if they're hitting shots, whether Denver overreacts or not, like every team they played in the playoffs, if Miami's hitting shots, they look like a much better team. That's crazy how that works in basketball, but that's sometimes what it just comes down to, and that's why I continue to have fun making that a meme, that you have to make shots to win at this level, because that's literally what this Miami team is like they can junk it up on defense enough to make it interesting, but ultimately, if you're bricking wide open threes, you're not winning with this talent level. Like, they don't have a Nikola Jokic that they can just give the ball to and say, like, shoot that sloppy, what do they call it? The Samba shuffle? What's his hometown? Whatever the hell they're calling it. There's a name for this now that I'm not aware of. Where's Nikola Jokic from? Let me look this up. But they started
is it Serbia?
Yeah, the Somber. That's what it is. It's from Somber, Serbia. So they call it like the Somber shuffle when he's like, I guess that's that shot when he's like going to the basket and like kind of leaning on the defender, and he's jumping off the wrong foot and shooting it from behind his head, and then it hits the rim 7 times, hits the backboard, and then trickles in. And he's somehow shooting like 91% on those shots, even though every time he takes it, you're like, there's no way that could go in. I guess they call that the Somber shuffle. So, yeah, the Heat don't have a guy like that. They don't have, if they're not hitting threes, they don't have, like, Jimmy Butler is technically that guy, and he's good to a certain extent, but he's not Nikola Jokic, and that's ultimately what it is. So yeah, like, as I sit here now, TJ, I am doing the overreacting thing where we're now back in the same position we were in after game 1, thinking it might be Nuggets in 5. But part of what makes me confident about that and not being overreact, like, I understand it's insane and it sounds overreactionary, but the part that I do think might be a little rational is that game 2, the Nuggets were up big. This was not a case of like the Heat were showing that they are, every bit as good as the Nuggets were. Like, the Nuggets were in the driver's seat, and they shit down their leg down the stretch of that game, which is why they were more locked in game 3. And I don't know, as I'm thinking of the 3 games I've just witnessed, like, game 2 to me feels more like a team that got complacent, and the Nuggets that had won 7 straight games, that had not lost at home in forever, that was such a heavy favorite in these finals, and also you're up by 15 in the second half. Like, there are just so many reasons that you could let your foot off the gas if you're Denver, and you're playing a team in Miami that has no quit. And I will say, like, I don't expect moving forward, the Heat aren't going to quit, like, both in the series or in any game. And if they go down 3-1 and we're going back to Denver, the whole world's going to be like, all right, now Denver's going to win by 30 and Miami's going to start waving the white flag in the third quarter if they're down by 20 plus. Like, that's not going to happen with this team. They could lose by 15 like they did tonight. They're going to scratch and claw and press and flop and do whatever the hell it takes to get back into the game. And I do respect that. And at a time when, as we've talked about on the show, these playoffs, you got like the Phoenix Suns and the Boston Celtics and others, the Philadelphia 76ers, that just get their ass handed to them and they just let it happen. I don't expect that to happen with the Heat, but what we saw tonight feels more familiar, or more what when I looked into the crystal ball going into these finals, I saw tonight. That's what I saw. I saw a game like tonight, except, like I said, I feel like both teams probably would have made like 3 or 4 more threes than they actually did, but otherwise it felt very similar to the kind of game that I was expecting. So yeah.
Did you envision Udonis Haslem checking in for $1 trillion?
I don't think I did. I don't think I saw that. I don't think
actually he took a shot, so I guess it's not one.
He did. Yeah, he got his $1 trillion ruined. I didn't envision that, but I did envision Christian Braun having 15 points. Right. I envisioned. I think I said coming to the series, Kyle Lowry will hit a buzzer beater at the end of the first quarter in game 3. which I think that did happen. That did happen tonight. I was right about that.
You and LeBron both had that.
Wow. No, we'll see. I'm not ready to call this series over. Hopefully, we're recording this right after the game happened, so I haven't had any time to digest what other people are saying and all that sort of. So I don't know what the people are saying out there. What are the streets saying, TJ? I have no idea, but hopefully people aren't saying like, shit, well, there it is. Now the series is over, because I don't necessarily think that's the case, because Miami gets hot. Like we could see game 2 all over again. We could see, and as much as it feels like it's a joke, at a certain point, it's not a joke. That Miami being down 15 is a very comfortable position for them to be in, to where even if the Nuggets come out in game 4 and are imposing their will and building a big lead, I don't know. I'm not going to, until the clock says 0. I'm not going to count out Miami in any of these games. But certainly tonight felt more of what I expected coming into the finals. I had this thought about Jokic, by the way. The Joker nickname, I don't like it. Is that controversial? I don't like the Joker nickname. I see what people are going for. His name's Jokic, not Jokic.
Yeah.
I think I had like a breaking point with, I saw a Barstool. We put out a Photoshop of him holding like having the Joker makeup, and on the broadcast tonight he was holding like a playing card, like a Joker playing card that was like very clearly photoshopped and I just feel like the nickname doesn't fit his persona whatsoever. Like the Joker is chaos. The Joker, yeah, there's in the thumbnail. Yeah, we have him holding the card. The game 3 recap. I'm seeing. I've reached a breaking point, TJ, where I'm seeing enough of this that I don't know. I think it's disrespectful to the late Heath Ledger. I think it's disrespectful to the performance he put forth in The Dark Knight. That he went to a very dark place, TJ. It may have cost him his life. Some have said it ultimately cost him his life. And now you're saying that Nikola Jokic, his persona is similar to that of the Joker. But really, like, let's just call it what it is. It's because his name is close to Joker, but it's not. It's pronounced. It's Jokic and Joker. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's not made it like I would be fine with like fudging the pronunciation enough to make it make sense if he in fact had like a chaotic personality, or if there was like some sort of like insanity to him. But there's not. He's like as boring as it comes, and like that's charming and stuff. But it's like if Tim Duncan, if we called him the Joker, you know, if Tim Duncan was the Riddler, you know, you'd be like, what the fuck? That doesn't even make any sense. Tim Duncan's just like boring. He goes about his business. He wears his khakis back home to work, you know, after he leaves work, and that's
Joker and Jokic both start with J.
I don't know. I've seen one too many Joker photoshops. And the photoshops are coming from inside the house. That's what's crazy. On this very show.
The thumbnail of this episode.
I've just made my own bet. We should just make the thumbnail be a million Joker Jokic. Like, because Djokovic, the tennis player, he's the Joker. You can't have, like, that's the other thing. You can't have two Serbian generational talents who both have the same nickname. That's laziness. That's laziness on the part of us as a sports viewing public. Like, I don't know why we're allowing this to happen. That we're just Djokovic is the Joker. Jokic, we need something else. I don't like it, and it doesn't. And also Djokovic, his persona fits the Joker as well. By the way, Djokovic, like when he doesn't get vaccinated, and then he's like he's got the Aaron Rodgers energy about it, where he's like trying to like and you know, just sow the seeds of chaos about the whole deal, where he's like, I won't play in your tournaments, but also if I do play, I'm going to win. And like people are losing their fucking minds just mentioning his name. He is the Joker. Djokovic is the Joker. Jokic just kind of shows up, ho-hum, 30, 20, 10, gets asked about it in the post game. He's like, did I? I don't even know. Whatever. That's not Joker energy. So I don't know.
The Basketball Reference has like a line for nicknames. Let's go through these and see if any of these fits better in your opinion. So there's Joker.
Okay, hit me with them.
Joker. Yoke.
Yoker? Did you say are those two separate
yoke, ones? Y-O-K-E.
Yoke.
Big Tipper. Big Honey.
Big Honey.
And Cookie Monster.
Cookie Monster I hate. Big Tipper.
I don't know who decided that these belong here. I guess he's been called these at some point in his career by somebody.
Will you go to Evan Turner's page real quick and see if the villain's on there? Because I think it was at one point, and I remember that being a very proud
Turtle,
moment.
E.T., the kid, the villain.
Let's go. That was me. I got that on there. But I think that's... I think the fact that I personally, and like literally just me, I came up with the nickname The Villain for Evan Turner. And they put it on his basketball reference. I think the bar to clear to get a nickname on a basketball reference page is not very high. I think it's Big Tipper. Is it because like he's like leaning on people as you know his whole game is like kind of like he's I don't know. I'm trying to I get the Big Dipper play on words there, but I don't understand. Did he tip? Is there a famous story that he tipped someone a lot of money at a restaurant?
I don't know.
Oh, it might just be a me problem, but I reached my breaking point tonight. It was the ESPN graphic, I think. I think it was ESPN's. I'm fine with ours. Barstool, we do a great job with our photoshops. They make a lot of sense, and they're tastefully done. I felt like ESPN's was disgusting and made no sense. No. Just the nickname doesn't make any sense. It's as lazy as it comes. It's as lazy as it comes. I don't know. I don't know. It's how I know I'm getting old, TJ. Stuff like this bothers me. I don't know what else we need to talk about from the game. Shout out Jeff Green. He was mic'd up. He was coaching on the bench, just basically clapping a bunch and say he played. I mean, he played 17 minutes and he gives the Nuggets good minutes at times when he's in. He was 2 for 2 tonight. But his role on this team, let's be completely honest, is just to be the old ass dude, which is crazy to say because Jeff Green. I am getting old because Jeff Green is not an old ass dude to me, but also to watch him just playing the role of a guy who's clapping, that just like his point, like he's just pointing to the scoreboard and telling his teammates like, "There's still time left. Let's keep playing." And then like Van Gundy and Mark Jackson are like great leadership there, and they're not wrong. It is great, but it's just like, man, I need to get that Udonis Haslem, Jeff Green role when they let college basketball guys play when the NCAA finally announces you get unlimited eligibility and there's no such thing as exhausting your eligibility. I'm going back to school and just sitting on Ohio State's bench. and I'm just going to point shit out like that. I'm going to be like, fellas, we're up 7 with a minute. Let's not chuck shots. All right. Let's just I don't even say that. I whistle I can't whistle. So I got to learn that. But and then I just point at my temples for the players. I'm like, let's think out there.
I feel like you had the chance to do that once already. Maybe somebody else should have the chance. Did you already do that once?
No, because my 4 years, I was just being a jackass for content. So like, I want to play a different role this time. Yeah. I want to go. I have some regrets. I was not the. Danny Peters was that role for us. Actually, he's an assistant coach at Georgia State now. He was the guy that would like just yell, "Get your feet set!" after our guys would. John Diebler would brick a 3, and then Danny would cup his hands and just yell, "Set your feet, John!" And I'm like, good commentary, Dan. And meanwhile, I was like pulling pranks on teammates at halftime, and So anyway, enough about that. I don't think there's Michael Malone. I was gonna say this. No, I don't need to say it. I'll save it for later. We can move on. Quick break to talk about our friends at HelloFresh. Let's face it. I know it. You know it. We all know it. You're not a great cook. It's overwhelming. It's too much work. It's too much. You're not great at shopping. You're not great at coming up with recipes. You've tried it a million different times. You can't do it. I've done it. I've tried it a million. I'm going to be a responsible adult. I'm going to cook meals for myself. I eat out too much. What am I doing with my life? I need to cook for myself. Then I go to the grocery and I look at everything and I'm like, this is all too confusing. And then I go out to eat again and I'm back in the vicious cycle. How about this? How about you and I look at each other and we say, let's fix this. Let's fix this. This summer, let's look at HelloFresh, who is here to take the work out of eating well. Reach your goals with delicious, calorie-smart and protein-smart lunch and dinner options, plus new vegan recipes too. You can get farm-to-table quality with every HelloFresh box. HelloFresh's seasonal ingredients are picked at peak ripeness and travel from the farm to your doorstep in less than 7 days for fresh flavor in every bite. Spend less time meal planning and prepping with HelloFresh's pre-portioned ingredients that make it easy to get cooking quick. You don't have to worry about having too much. Why do I have so much garlic? I don't need all this garlic for this meal. Pre-portioned ingredients from HelloFresh. It's perfect. I use it. You're going to use it. You're going to love it. Go to HelloFresh.com/MarkTitus16. Use code MarkTitus16 for 16 free meals plus free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com/MarkTitus16. Use code MarkTitus16. Get 16 free meals plus free shipping. I'll say it again. 16 free meals plus free shipping. HelloFresh.com/MarkTitus16. Use code MarkTitus16. 16 free meals. Free shipping. Go do it now. Get your life in order. Stop spending so much money eating out. Start cooking for yourself and do it the right way with HelloFresh. Let's talk about something else. I've been sleeping on this UFO stuff, TJ. And I guess like we should have spent more time about this. I was so blown away by your octopus take because it's something that I felt strongly about as well. Like I feel like the ocean is outer space, and I feel like octopuses. Do we say octopuses or do we say octopi? Doesn't matter.
I say
what
freaks, ocean freaks.
I'm with you, man. I was nodding along and I got distracted about the rest of the conversation, but great points by you. But I've been thinking about it more, and there's one thought I didn't share, and then one thought I developed since we last talked. The one thought I didn't share was that I still can't make sense of any of these news stories, because you're just kind of conditioned to believe that anytime anyone's talking about aliens or UFOs, they're batshit insane. You know, even as a guy who believes that there's life out there, if someone else tells me there's life out there, I'm very hypocritical in that regard. Like I'll gladly say it. I'll be like, yes, of course, there are aliens out there. They probably have visited us. I'm sure there's been some wild. There's at this point there's enough like crazy shit that's happened that is unexplainable that sure, yeah, I believe it. But the second someone else says the words that I just said and they say them to me, I just tune out and I'm like, you're out of your mind. So anyway, I can't make sense of the story of whether, because to me, I'm like, if this is real, this should be the biggest story in the history of mankind. Right. Like literally, what else would there be? Like, who gives a fuck about game 3 of the finals? And I think we sort of like downplayed that, where you and I were both like, yeah, there probably is, man. That's pretty sick that they found. So anyway, moving on. And I'm like, we should probably hit the brakes and talk about this a little bit, because that's like fuck. Like one of two things is true. Like this is a real thing, that like we have actual spacecraft that are not of this world, that some other being flew from some other galaxy or planet or something to Earth, and we now, the United States government, it's always the United States government. Why is it that? Why is it always? Maybe it's not. I need to dig back into. I need to reach out to Billy Football and see his notes on this stuff. But it does feel like it's always the U.S., right? Like if I told you there's a government that's like keeping alien secrets from the rest of the world, it's the United States. Why are all the UFOs coming to the United States? Because they know we're number one?
Probably.
Because they.
I'm trying to like the only other thing I could think of is like when like in 2012 when the Earth was gonna end. I feel like that had some sort of alien influence on it, and that was like a ancient Mayan calendar debacle.
Yeah, those are Mayans who are, I think, Mexicans, right? I think
it's like modern day
Mexico. What is it about North America? Why are we? But yeah, so if the government has in fact found these alien spacecraft and is in possession of them, this is the bit that literally nothing else matters on this planet. Nothing. And if they haven't, then we shouldn't be talking about it at all. There's no in between. And And I felt like you, I, and everyone else were landing in between. And I don't know what happens next. That's the other part that I don't really understand either. Is like what. It's just a very confusing time to be a UFO guy. You know, it's just like what I feel like we're getting we're edging as the
Right.
UFO community is edging right now, and it's like either do it or don't. And I felt like this was the doing it, but at the same time, if this was in fact the doing it, why are we talking about who's going to win the dozen live show?
Yeah, this is as far as the story gets. There's never like a next step where like the president addresses the guy that says that the U.S. has. Could you imagine if you turned on the TV, or if during Game 4 of the finals they broke into programming with a special update from the president, and he's just like, "There it is." And there was just
There it
a
is. So
spaceship
we're here with
behind him.
and he's just got like it's like a drug bust at like a tiny rural town in the Midwest where they got like the bags of weed on the table
Yeah.
and like the cops are holding the shotguns and everything, and you just got like alien heads and like parts of the spaceship like on a table.
We're like,
And
"Hey,
it's just
so we got something here."
And it's two FBI guys with bulletproof vests on and they're cocking their shotguns. They're just
An alien
it's
in
like,
handcuffs.
yeah, alien in handcuffs. Oh man. Yeah, I don't know. I read it. I was like, damn, that one sounds legit. It's the way people are talking about it. It seems like it's more legit than everything else. But then also, if it is in fact legit, why are we talking about anything else? And then the second thought that I developed since we last talked about aliens, TJ, is that my whole life, if you ask me about this stuff, I would say that I want answers. I would say that there was a time when I did not believe that aliens there were other life forms out there. I now do believe there are other life forms out there. At any point in time, though, my interest in it was basically like I just wanted answers. It was just like if I could give every cent of my net worth towards finding out the definitive truth, like tangible, like if God himself was like, here is the truth, here's what you need to know, I would spend every penny I have to get that answer. There's something that meant a lot to me, just one way or another. I want to know. And it dawned on me as we're on the precipice for the 1,000th time of maybe having answers. Now that I sit here at almost 36 years old and I have a fresh perspective on this, TJ, I don't think I want to know. I think I realized I don't. I think I'm one of those people that like this will break me. This will, like, if the government is like, yeah, we have there's an alien race. There was only 12 of them. They're now extinct because the entire alien civilization came to Omaha, Nebraska, and hovered over Omaha for a little bit, and then we shot those fuckers down and we slit all their throats. And now the species is extinct. We held one of them and tortured him, and he told us that these are the only ones of them. Well, there's only 12 of there. The whole reason they left their planet was because they're trying to find other life to get their population numbers back up. And that's how they ended up here. But, you know, they're extinct now. We killed those bitches. That would even knowing that, like I would shit my pants. I would actually shit my pants, and I don't want to know. Ignorance is bliss is where I've arrived on this. And like now I'm stuck in I'm having an identity crisis with aliens, because it's like I thought I've wanted to know my whole life, but now that I'm here, I feel like if they do in fact, if Biden has a press conference where he's like, we have aliens, here's one of their heads. Where do we go from there?
Yeah,
What do
I
we
don't
do?
know how you like go on with normal life after that, if that were to be the way it happened.
TJ, I'm getting ready to move to Chicago and live by Wrigley Field, man. Like I want to go to Cubs games and just fucking go to the lake and like
Yeah.
I want to chill.
I don't think you
I
can
wanna-
chill when there's humanoid alien heads.
Right? I want to have a chill summer, dude. Can we? Maybe that's it. If you're gonna announce
Right.
it, at least wait till the winter. Wait till like mid-January or something when everyone's a little miserable. And it's like, who cares? What? Like, I'm gonna stay inside anyway, and like, you know, I can just hide from the aliens inside and watch Netflix or something. But like in the middle of this, I don't want you to drop this on me as we're about to go into summer.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to
Don't
move
be a
across
bummer,
the country.
aliens.
So I don't know. That's where I arrived on that. By the way, do you have any I was gonna say, did the PGA live tour thing? I don't really have. I said it at the top, but I don't really know where I stand on this because I'm just getting whiplash. Like my opinion of it is whoever's opinion I just read or listened to most recently. That's what I believe. But I've never seen something that's so obviously like everybody seems to be compromised. Like everybody has like such very, very obvious like reasons to believe the things they believe. I will say the fact that these two entities are merging seems insane, but at the same time, like all the golf people seem like it was inevitable. Yeah. That's confusing to me too. Like who's telling them to say this? Like if it was inevitable, why did it get dropped out of nowhere like a bomb that just like? But then people are like, yeah, you know, like this was kind of the logical conclusion once the LIV Tour started was that these two were going to merge, and I'm like, to who was this logical? They
the most shocking sports update ever.
But yeah, I've been seeing a lot of that of like, I guess this was logical. I mean, that is as a guy who sits here and will watch every single NCAA tournament play out and see like I could see a 7 seed win the NCAA tournament, and I will do my post game recap of the national championship and be like, of course, we could have all seen this coming the whole way. You know, this team had all the pieces. It was right there in front of us. I fall victim to that, and even I find this shocking that they're pretending that it's not shocking. I do feel bad for Rory. Rory, can I go on record as saying I feel bad for Rory because I feel like everybody's kind of piling on him and calling him like a hypocrite, like a sucker, all sorts of thing. I feel bad. I feel bad that Rory like took a stance and is just made to look like an absolute boob.
Yeah,
just an absolute boob. But yeah, this is like one of the most wild sports stories I've ever seen. Like I literally thought it was The Onion when I saw the headline. I was like, there's wouldn't that be something? I said, and then I'll be damned there. But then like now everyone's like, this is actually a good thing, and here's why. And because golf is gonna get all this money, and it's like, do you know where the money's coming from? And then they're like, yeah, we know where the money's coming from, but I find it interesting that you use a cell phone and now all of a sudden you care about. It's like, are those the same things? Are we talking about that?
Is that actually your fault for reading it on Twitter.com on your phone?
Interesting. I bet you don't know where that bottle of water came from, did you? Huh? I bet you don't know what regime produced that bottle. And I'm like, is that the same thing as the Saudis buying a fucking pro sports league and just kind of like setting a precedent that they're just going to bring their money to America and buy literally anything? And
correct. That's the conclusion you should take away about is that they are going to buy everything because they have monopoly money. Like their money doesn't matter. They're offering like old ass soccer players billions of dollars. Messi's reported offer to play in Saudi Arabia was $1.2 billion on a contract.
And he's going to MLS though.
Yeah,
so,
he's going to Miami to go own teams instead. But like they
is
have
MLS
more
back?
money than
MLS is.
The first time Messi has to take a bus to the Bronx to play against New York City Football Club at Yankee Stadium, he's going to realize he made a mistake.
He realized he made a mistake when he takes a peek at the lower.com field in Columbus, Ohio. And he's like, fuck, I could have come to MLS and played for the black and gold, and I played for those bums in Miami instead. The 2-time MLS Cup champion, Columbus Crew. What was I thinking? What an idiot. No, it's the reactions are just like all over the place, and it's because to me it's like the most no-brainer. Like this is horrendous. This is so bad. And it feels like there is a group of people, and I understand this point of view, but like I also they're trolls, TJ. Like the troll reaction is like, this is funny because like there was in their mind, I guess, like there's a self-righteous slant to the people that did not take the LIV money and wanted to stay at PGA and like keep the sport pure and all that sort of thing, and now that they have to now be in bed with the people that they despised and said, I don't want to do business with them. That's funny to these people, and I understand that point of view. I get it. I was 14 once, where I was like, this is hilarious. Eat shit, Rory. I bet you feel bad about talking shit about Phil now, and like, oh, I can't wait to watch Phil and Rory get paired up. All of that is fine and well, but I'm genuinely confused by anyone that's like, this is actually a good thing. I'm confused. I don't say that as, I'm not like clutching my pearls as like I want golf to be pure, and it's just like Am I understanding this correctly? That it's just and this idea that like other bad things happen. So like why? I'm very confused by that. I've seen a lot of that. Like it's like, yeah, kind of like what I said earlier. Like do you know where your cell phone comes from? So I mean, if you're gonna buy a cell phone that probably has blood on it, then who gives a shit if the Saudis buy? And it's like if we follow that logic all the way through. Where does that take? Like, it's just more bad shit keeps it as the Saudis come and buy every fucking league we have, and God forbid they start taking over Big Ten basketball, TJ, which is really when I'll lose my mind. If they start buying, if the Saudis come in and buy Northwestern basketball and turn them into a power, oh my, don't just. That's the. Then real, I'm really fired up.
The real red flag is when they get into NIL and they start paying high school kids billions of dollars to go to college for 1 year.
I'm just so confused by that logic. That's like other bad shit happens, so therefore you can't now be mad about this bad stuff. It's all very straight. Like I don't know who's arguing for this being a good thing.
I just don't get why. What's the benefit of like white knighting for the Saudi government?
That's right.
Are they paying you as well? I feel bad for the guys that didn't take deals now because they look like idiots online, like that they left hundreds of millions of dollars on the table because they thought there was a moral obligation. But this was like dropped on everybody. Obviously, this has been in the works for a while. Like I don't think a deal of this caliber with like multiple parties, the European tour is involved in this as well. Like that doesn't happen overnight or over a weekend even. Like this has been in the works. So all these guys that like put their names on the PGA shields, they're like, yeah, we're going to stand by our guys or whatever. That kind of sucks that they got like, that they have to now keep representing the PGA, even though like the PGA didn't care about them. And like they'll make more money now, but they left.
But they didn't want money in the first place.
Right.
Like money,
that wasn't what it was about. Right. Yeah.
I don't understand that line of thinking either. It's like, well, now they're going to make more money, and they're going to like the whole point. If they wanted the money, if they wanted the Saudis' money,
they would have taken it.
If Rory and Tiger wanted the Saudis' money, they would have taken it in the first place. So like now, I don't know. It's all. I'm not gonna white knight for Rory or the PGA. Like I do feel bad for Rory because I do think he's getting dunked on like crazy, but I do think he was like principled. Like he's getting called a hypocrite and everything, which is like that's got to be a very confusing position to be in. I think like his point of view was valid the whole time. I think like Rory just strikes me as a guy who just gives a fuck about golf and like doesn't. It's like I don't want to get in all that. Like he's already got $100 million, $200 million. I don't pocket watch, but also I Google celebritynetworth.com every so often. He's got a ton of money. I always got the impression from Rory that he just like wants to win the majors and the tournaments that he grew up obsessing over, and like he just wants to be a steward of the game. And I don't think he's a hypocrite, but that's my read. I have an uninformed, like I'm not as plugged in as a lot of other people are on this sort of thing. But my impression of Rory was always that he was very, whether you did like his point of view or not, like he just seemed to be very authentic in what he believed and what he was standing up for. And now the idea that like if Rory doesn't resign, like that's I don't know. Maybe I'm doing a lot of straw man stuff here, TJ, where I'm like just seeing like one or two reactions and pretending like that's what everyone's saying. But like it does. I saw the news and I was like, oh man, this is crazy. I bet I can't wait to see that everyone's just going to shit all over this and shit all over the PGA for making this deal and all. And for the reaction to be kind of split is wild to me. It's just wild that like you said, like I get like maybe some of the like Rory, the guys who stay in the PGA and are now going to play in this league, they're going to stay in the PGA still. And they're not going to resign today upon hearing this news. They're hypocrites. Like, if that's what you believe, that's fine, whatever. But on the flip, like, if you don't want to white knight for them because of that, like, whatever. Everyone has their own point of view. But to white knight for the Saudis is very bizarre to me. That's what's bizarre. It's not like it's not a fair fight here in terms of, like, which sides we're talking about. I don't know.
See, also, the Saudis do not care if you're tweeting in their support.
Yeah, they're not going to fuck you, bro.
Yeah. I will say they're not going to pay you. Yeah, I will say
they're not going to pay. Or maybe they will. I don't know. Maybe that's the plan. Maybe they
start
will.
Buying fans.
They start.
It does get us one step closer to the LIV Trivia Tour coming to the dozen, which is great for us as players.
Yeah, I would love to start the. Was that PFT's idea to start the Triv?
Trivia. Yeah, I will take a check to go play in the LIV Trivia Tour.
PFT called it Triv. That's what he told me he came up with was the alternative. But he's on a team that Jeff just grooves meatballs to, so I don't know why he would have a problem with it. It's those of us that are, we're the jobbers. We're the jobbers of the dozen. We're big enough that when the teams that Jeff rigs it for beats us, it people feel something.
Right.
But we're never big enough to actually.
We're the mid card. We're
the mid card, dude. And I think we need to union it. We do have a union, right? A players union.
Yeah, but White Sox Dave's the commissioner.
So. All right, we need to
fix that.
we need to start there. Let's fix that. That would be funny if we did a. Who would host the Triv tour?
You need an evil Jeff D.
Yeah, who's like the Jeff D of? I guess Kenjack maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Kenjack's on the. We talk. I pitched it to Billy Football to host. Like Billy was in the office when I was talking to PFT about it, and he's not on a team, and he thinks trivia's stupid. And I was like, why don't you you be the host of the Triv tour? And then I realized like all the questions are just going to be like, what species of bullfrog is
fire salamander?
Which one of these is not? Or how would it be like? It'd just be like a straight up question. Who was responsible for the JFK assassination? And then just like every team is just like, it can't. Okay, so we can eliminate Lee Harvey Oswald. Let's go from there. Is it the CIA? Is it the mob? Is it? Oh man. Anything else before we go? Any shout outs?
Yeah. Cam Spencer is a Yukon Husky.
I saw that.
We lost him.
How do you feel about? Sorry, I'm fixing my hair. Hang on.
I mean, he's not in the Big Ten.
I think this is good for Rutgers. I think, dude, I'm sweating like crazy again. I feel like I
turned the AC off in here because it was loud. I'm starting to sweat also.
I got called out in one of those episodes not too long ago, dude. I looked like the dude trying to land the plane in an airplane, just sweating like crazy. Anyway, Cam Spencer to UConn. I think this is good for Rutgers because he's going to the national champion.
Yeah, like it certainly says something about the platform we put him on.
Come to Rutgers and you can compete for national championships after you.
Dude, there's such a bad graphic about this that gets circulated by UConn fans, where it's like money made by players coached by the Rutgers coaching staff.
Oh no!
And it's like $1.1 billion, and like Ray Allen is front and center.
Oh
like,
no!
Well, that's not a Rutgers, but it's like all UConn players.
Yeah.
So UConn hates Rutgers because we got like the invite to the big boy leagues over, and they felt like they should have gotten that. Although there's buzz about them going to the Big 12 now.
I saw that. So
they might be getting their ticket, but they
right as soon as they get back in the Big East, they're bouncing. I think we got to get. I think there's got to be with conference realignment, basketball and football need to just split up in general. Yeah. I think that like let UConn football go to the Big 12, but leave the basketball team in the Big East. UConn in the Big like the Big 12 basketball is going to be insane already, whether UConn joins or not. Like the Big 12 is going to be freaking murderer's row, and having UConn would be awesome, obviously. But let's just keep them in the Big East. Let's just not do that. Let's just can everybody just chill out? Can everybody just kind of like just chill out? How about that? Can we? I just want to sit every conference commissioner and every university president, athletic director down and just be like, can we not? Can we just chill?
Yeah, here's
fellas, got a dope idea. What if we all just like chillax for like a few years? Just like take it easy, just see where that goes. Just vibe out, man. Yeah, that's I saw that news and thought of you and thought that's actually a good thing. All things considered, that's not the worst. You just sent me the graphic. 1.1 billion earns. Rip Hamilton.
It's a tough graphic.
That's a tough graphic.
That was during a dark time. I believe we put that out. We were like, hey, come on over.
Cha-ching.
2016.
Total.
Yeah, that was a dark time.
That's funny.
And then UNC lost a commit for this year.
Who's that?
Simeon Wilcher, Roselle Catholic.
He decommitted?
Yep.
I missed that news.
So him and Mackenzie Mbako went to Indiana. They played together in high school
Interesting.
at Roselle Catholic. So I think people are considering throwing the name Indiana into that ring. I think he took a visit to St. John's either this weekend or today.
Yeah. Mike Woodson has been smart by he's getting in the mix, TJ. We'll just put it that way. Every time this is a good position to be in, where every time there's a transfer, Indiana's name's getting floated. That's just like a good brand. That's a good.
It's a good place to be, even if you don't. It's get a good place.
Yeah, even if you never get the guys, you just want people saying like Indiana. That'd be interesting. Yeah, that would certainly be interesting. The Big Ten's going to be a gauntlet. Like that's what I said when Zach Edey came back. Apologies to the haters. This college basketball season, going to be a lot of Big Ten talk. There's going to be a lot of good teams in the Big Ten. The Big East is going to be awesome. The Big 12 is going to be awesome. The SEC will find a way because they care about basketball now, and they'll just like do their SEC scumbaggery to make their league good. It is good. The SEC is. The SEC is hilarious to me though. Like for freaking decade after decade, they never cared about basketball, and then like 10 years ago, they're like, we should just care. What if we just cared? And then now like Bama's good and Auburn's good. And all these just used to be Kentucky. I think that's why Kentucky fans are losing their mind more than anything. Never mind the NCAA tournament flameouts. It's just that like they used to just dominate the SEC year after year, and now it's like, wait a second, what the hell's going on here? But yeah, the Big Ten's gonna be interesting. I had a couple shout outs. RIP Iron Sheik.
Yes, good call.
One of the great early Twitter follows of just like celebrities, and you're like, is this really the Iron Sheik? This is insane that this man is tweeting like this. And then somewhere along the line, I mean, I don't want to peek behind the curtain too much for people. If you're someone that was devastated to find out that the Wizard of Oz was just smoke and mirrors, then maybe stop the podcast now. But I'm pretty certain that somewhere along the line, the Sheiky baby stopped tweeting for himself, and he passed it on. Because like, how hard would that be, TJ? To just, I could do Iron Sheik, like I could run his account for the rest of my life for him, and you just never announce that he died, and just let me run the account, and we could convince people that this man is going to live for 500 years because we just pass it off to just be like, break his fucking back, make him humble.
Yeah. Fuck you, Bubba.
Fuck you, Bubba. I think someone else is running the account, but man, and a great early Twitter follow. I remember once upon a time he followed me and DM'd me, and again, it was probably just like some 22-year-old that was running the account for him. But dude, that was a big moment in my Twitter career. Screenshot it, sent it to all the boys. Said, look at this, Sheiky baby following me. I don't think he follows me anymore. I don't follow him anymore because I learned that someone's running his account. I was like, this isn't as fun. But yeah, RIP Iron Sheik. That's dare I say, like that became his legacy. That is his legacy, his Twitter account, more so than his wrestling career.
To anybody under the age of Brandon Walker, yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious where Brandon falls on that, because Brandon pretty much does feel like the cutoff. Like Brandon is old. Brandon is very old. Brandon is so old. He's old enough to remember watching Iron Sheik. I've seen every WrestleMania ever. I'm familiar with the Sheik's work. I'm familiar with the camel clutch, but I still, when you say Iron Sheik, I think about the man on Twitter saying, break his back, fuck him, and did you say fuck his ass? Is that something?
He plays it loose on Twitter.
That's one way of describing it. Just an insane man in all caps. I want to shout out my guy Kyle Crichton, who's a producer of the Bill Simmons podcast. He produces the Ryan Russillo podcast. Produces One Shining podcast, I believe, which is a program that I used to partake in. He's getting married on Friday, on June 9th. He got engaged on 4/20. He's getting married on 6/9. The man is. Yeah, that's a true story. He told if you're new to my realm and my universe, and you're like a stoolie that's like just started listening to the show when I signed on a Barstool or whatever, go listen to the Kyle Crichton engagement story that he did on the Titus and Tate feed. It was we talked to him about it. It was so freaking funny. But yeah, he's getting married. He's a good friend of mine. I love him to death, and I'm not gonna be able to make it to the wedding, and I feel terrible about it. But I wanted to give him a shout out, and also mention that, Kyle, if you're listening to this, I bought something off your wedding registry and sent it to you, but I forgot to. When I was checking out, I forgot to write the note that it was for me. So I don't know how to handle that, TJ. What do I do? I got the most, as far as I know, not to brag, but,
Brag.
I'm going to brag. I went to the registry. I was going to send him cash, but like the cash part is hard because Kyle's a great friend of mine, but I'm also not going to the wedding. So like, I already feel like a fraud in some regard. And I also don't want to be the guy that's like, here's $1,000. Sorry, I didn't make it to your wedding. So I'm going to just like buy your love and just send you $1,000 so you can't say shit. Cause that's like kind of transparent if we're being honest. So I couldn't figure out the dollar amount to send him. Cause I didn't like 1,000. That's too much, but like, $100 felt like too little and I didn't know where to fall in the middle. So I was like, I'm not going to send cash. I'm going to go to his registry and I'm going to just find something and buy it off the registry. And I bought him the most expensive thing he had on the registry. The most expensive thing that was left. I'm not going to say how much it was, but it was the most expensive thing. And I bought it and I was like, I already talked to Kyle, by the way. I already talked to him about how I'm not coming to the wedding. We had we had the whole thing and, I went out with him and we had drinks. We had a good time. I'm like, sorry, buddy. And we already talked all that out. So he knows this, but I bought him the thing. And then as I checked it out, I got the email that was like, your order has been confirmed, yada, yada, yada. And then I was like, just kind of looking over the order thing. And then it dawned on me, I was like, he's not going to know this is for me, is he? He's not going to know that I got him the most. So in his mind, I'm not coming to the wedding and I didn't get him anything.
Yeah.
And now but then I also don't want to be like the guy that's like texting him on his wedding day. That's like, hey bro, congrats on the wedding. Just FYI, just want to let you know, I did in fact, the high ticket item on the registry. That was me. Just FYI. I don't. No, you don't need to applaud. Don't applaud. But it was. I'm literally. This is Curb Your Enthusiasm. I'm the anonymous donor.
Yeah.
This is a Curb episode. I'm banging on the window. I'm anonymous. It's me. So
go back into the registry and buy the least expensive item, and then in the note for that, and be like, also I got you
the other thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not a bad idea. I could do that. Just get him like one fork.
Yeah.
But then like he somehow misconstrues the message and he thinks that like I just got him, or he doesn't read the thing and he just sees that I got him one fork and that's like a bigger fuck you than not getting him anything. I don't know. But I love Kyle to death. He's a great beach buddy. We go to the beach all the time in LA and I'm going to miss doing that this summer with him, but he's getting married and I want to give him a shout out. So shout out to Kyle. I take care of my producers, TJ. That's one thing I do. Say what you want about me. Say what you want about me. If you ever produce a show that I am working on, I will hook you up. I got you a Switch. I did that.
I didn't. It didn't ship in time before I left, but he actually did it.
I did it. The son of a bitch did it. We got off the show and I sent a Switch, and again, I don't need the applause. I don't do it for. That's not why I do it.
You do it for the video game tutoring.
I do it for the video game tutor. I sent TJ a Switch because anytime you can buy your boys a 6-year-old gaming console when there are rumors floating that they're going to come out with the next gen anytime, and the price point is basically the exact same as it was when it launched, you have to do it. You have to pull the trigger on that.
That's what they do. That's the classic mantra.
TJ, when I tell you I am obsessed with this Tears of the Kingdom game, I live it, I breathe it. I've gotten the only other game that has done this to me in all the time I've been playing video games is Tony Hawk. Tony Hawk's the only other game that every iteration of Tony Hawk. I'll play it. I'll play any iteration of Tony Hawk for forever. But I have video game brain where I'm just like walking my dog down the street and I don't even see the real world anymore. I see like the video game, like where if I'm playing Tony Hawk a lot, I'll just like start picturing grinding off of shit in the street and then like doing a manual over here and a kickflip there and and I can't. That's all I see. That's where I'm at with this Tears of the Kingdom game. I'm just like walking along, like trying to like pick fruit off of trees because I'm like that'll be useful later. I'll make a fucking potion out of that later. Trying to put it in my pocket. This is. I can confidently say this because I just had a huge discovery today as I was playing. Completely blew my mind because there have been like 4 or 5 different times with this video game that I felt like I've so like in the initial stages, I feel like I'm doing a puzzle and you dump all the pieces out and you're like kind of sorting through them to figure out like what the mechanisms are and like what you can do and what the objectives are and all that sort of thing. And I thought 4 or 5 different times I have seen every piece of the puzzle. Now it's just a matter of putting them together. And 4 or 5 different times there's been not just like another piece, there's like another fucking box of puzzle pieces that get dumped on me and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And I had that happen today and it's the best video game I've ever played in my life, and I cannot wait. This might be what we do in the off season. I just want to like I want to make Zelda Tears of the Kingdom content for a living. This is what I want to do. I'm going to quit this job. I want you and I to just like play this game and figure out how we get rich off of it because this is all I want to do. I want to eschew my family and friends and just lock myself in a bunker and try to save Hyrule. That's where I'm at with this. So I'm excited for you to fire it up, dude. It's so awesome. It's so awesome.
I'm pumped for that, and then I'm gonna get immediately lost in whatever the last Mario game, Odyssey. No.
Dude, Odyssey's so good. Yeah. Odyssey's so good too.
What's the one that's like in? There's like a New York level. Is that Odyssey?
Odyssey, yeah. New Donk City, yeah. Yeah. We should just become a video game podcast, dude.
I'm in.
I love Tears of the Kingdom. It is so good. If you're on the fence, if you're someone that's listening that's like kind of into video, I don't know how I've never endorsed anything in my life as strongly as I'm endorsing this video game. It is blowing my mind. The depth of this thing, you could do so. Here's the one problem I have with like the way people. So the game comes out, and all these reviews come out, and everyone says it's good. Everyone's like, this is a 10 out of 10, whatever. But I don't understand how you can review the game at all. Like I'm a hypocrite even because it dawned on me that as I'm playing, I keep like looking up, like I'm so deep in it now that, which this is probably normal for a lot of gamers, but for me, it's pretty crazy that I'm on like fucking Reddits and I'm like Googling stuff, like not how to do things, but just like tips and tricks and just kind of like, I'm just trying to absorb give me all your knowledge. And thank you, by the way, to the people that are hitting me up with, to go check out the Great Fairies to help my armor. I appreciate that. That is very useful. My armor's dog shit. I won't lie. It's dog shit. We got to step that up. I'm going to go check out those Great Fairies. I don't know where they are. I'm looking for them. But as I'm reading all this stuff, people are like speaking a completely foreign language. And I've put like hours and hours and hours into this game, TJ. And I'm reading stuff that makes literally no sense to me. Like they're talking about parts of the map that I have no idea what they're talking about. They're talking about things you can do that I have no idea what they're talking about. And it just kind of hits you that like, you could play this game every single day for like a month straight and have a completely different experience than someone else playing this game every single day for a month straight because they're like going to a different part of the world. They're trying to like do something else with the mission, you know? It's like one of those games where it's like we're not even playing the same game. You'd have to... You're not even allowed to review it until you've played it for like a year because I think at that point maybe you could kind of sort of started to see everything. The depth is insane. That's all I have to say about that. So anyway, I'm obsessed. I'm so excited that you're going to play it, and we're going to talk about it. We should do live stream. When we get to Chicago, we should. I just want to do, like, I want you and I to find some common ground. That's what it is.
Oh, yeah.
I want to find, yeah.
If you're a Tony Hawk guy, I'm a massive Tony Hawk guy, so that plays too. I just got Tony Hawk tattoo last week.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, you got the eye with the Neversoft logo, right? Let's go. I love Tony Hawk. Do you play the... Like if you're, what's the best one? 1 or 2, right?
I like best. Tony Hawk Underground. So I'm younger than you, so I hit the my gaming peak hit during Underground 2, and American Wasteland. That trilogy. I played the Pro Skater games, but
the first one you played the first and second one.
I played them all.
Okay, all right.
I did my research as a fan.
I also played them all, but by the time I got to Underground, I was just going back to the OGs because the OGs, the soundtracks, all of them are awesome. But that first one is I can't even count how many hours I played that in my life.
We've talked about the NCAA video game with Brandon, I think, twice on this show. That game is in big trouble.
Oh, the players are like unionizing to.
Yeah. Because the EA Sports was going to give a flat rate of $500 to all college football players to use their likeness in the game, which is the only reason why this game was even being remade, is because they can pay the players now.
Because you can now pay the players, yeah.
Because it used to be they had to go no names, and then you would have to download the rosters from online, which was fine. But this was like, oh, they could actually use the players, but $500. Caleb Williams is not accepting $500 to be the cover athlete and star of the NCAA football game reboot.
I'm pretty sure I made at least $1,000, and I want to say it was closer to $2,000. I don't know, man. I have to think about it. It was probably maybe it was $1,000, but it was a substantial amount. I made like $1,000 from the Ed O'Bannon case. Like when Ed O'Bannon sued the EA Sports and on behalf of all the, because that was the whole reason that these games stopped happening in the first place. Was he was like, you're using my likeness in these video games, and I'm getting none of this money. So they stopped them, and they filed a class action lawsuit, and anybody that was in any of these video games, as long as you filled out the paperwork, like all class action lawsuits, you got a cut. Now, I don't want to stereotype too much, TJ, but college athletes, as it turns out, kind of morons, kind of stupid. Not the kind of person that like understands how class action lawsuits work, not understanding that you have to opt in, not understanding at least this is how I interpreted it, because I felt like when my check came, I was like, this is absurd that this is so high. This was like 7 or 8 years ago, maybe. This is a while back, but I didn't tell a bad teammate on my part, but I didn't really tell anybody. I wasn't going to tell my teammates like opt in. I was like, dude, I don't know. I mean, you guys got
some of your teammates are probably all right not getting the extra $1,000.
I wasn't trying to hide it from them, but like they got a better teammate maybe would have reached out to the other guys and been like, "Hey guys, just check in, making sure everyone's opting in on this." I didn't do that. I got my paperwork just like they did, and I filled it out. And I was, you know what? I was like, you know what? If they fill it out, they'll get their cut. If not, they won't. And then that check came, dude, and it was. So the whole point of telling you this is like that is insane. If I make like 3 times as much money as Caleb Williams,
yeah.
Because I was in NCAA basketball 08. I want to make like $1,000 more than the Heisman Trophy winner will make for being in.
Did you ever play as yourself in that game?
I did, yeah. And I was a 69 overall. True story.
Nice.
I was 69 overall, and I could dunk so much easier in the game than I could in real life. I could throw down, but instead of appreciating that, I was so pissed at how bad I was at shooting. My shooting was atrocious. I would be wide open and brick everything, and I got so mad. But then I had to turn into a slasher, and I'd dunk on people, and like that was kind of fun, but it was also like, I not at the cost of not being a shooter. That's not worth it to me.
That's the dream right there.
I did that. I played. I should fire that back up. We should do. Dude, I want to do. You and I need to do some video game content. We gotta do live streams of some sort or something. Because I think I might. I just want to make this my life. I want to make playing Zelda my life. That's pretty much it. So I want to, but I just want someone to talk to about or talk about this with. I don't know. I've never been so obsessed with something, and I'm excited for you to get after it. So anyway, I think that might be the show. Enjoy Chicago, dude. Hope that you find an apartment. Is that the plan?
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, at least find a building or something. But
where you're looking in the city, or are you doing the
as
Brandon
close
Walker,
to the office as
Wisconsin?
Possible. Yeah,
okay.
I can't. I don't think I'm going to get a car, or at least I'm not going to start with a car. Hopefully, walking to the office. Yeah. Brandon setting himself up for failure with a 90-minute drive to the office every day.
Maybe Brandon can come. Maybe Brandon can like pick you up on the way in or something. Give you a ride.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll do that. He loves random acts of kindness.
And I quote. I'm going to quote the. Let me see here. Where is it? Do you think you're better than me? Is what he texted me the other day. And I said, what is this about? And he said, you're buying TJ a Switch? Question mark.
I think he was probably sitting across from me when he texted you that because I was like, "Hey, you never buy me anything." He was like, "I'll buy you a milkshake. Do you want a milkshake?"
He goes, you're buying TJ a Switch? And I said, that's not true. I'm not buying him anything. I already did it. It's past tense. It's been bought. And then he says, you suck. And then I says, have you never done that for him? I said, that's wild, man. You know he loves video games, right? And then he just replied, he gets paid a salary. So
I will say he did
professional hater Brandon Walker.
We were in a conversation with one of the higher ups at Barstool today about the new show that we're doing this fall, trying to get the name squared away. And we needed to add your guys' names as like a subtitle to the title in order to get it through legal.
Yeah, so we arrived on a name, but the name doesn't work. We have to add our names to
so it's name of show with you guys. And the higher up said, so name of show with Brandon Walker and Mark Titus. And Brandon said, switch the names.
Whoa.
Quote, Titus is the bigger name.
No. That's fake humility. That's fake humility because he knew. No.
That's it. That's what he said.
That's fake. That's fake. I'm sure it happened, but that was very calculated. That was a very calculated. What really happened is that Brandon knows that my last name being second in anything sounds like a disease.
And Titus.
Yeah, and Titus just sounds like a disease, so I have to go first. So he was doing fake, like all step down. Because I did the exact same thing to him. He's like, whose name should be first? I was like, yours. It's like, you're I don't think I said he's the bigger name, but I was like, you're more likely to kill yourself if you're second on the and then he was like, yeah, but Walker and Titus sounds like a disease. And
Walker and Titus sounds like a foot fungus.
Yeah, it does. That's actually the name of the show, Foot Fungus with Walker and Titus.
Yeah.
No, I'm excited about this show. Are you going to be on this show? Are you producing it? Or,
yeah, I think I'll be
that seems like a big workload for you, dude.
I think I'm going to do like the camera button pusher / third mic.
All right, that's good. I mean, I want you to. I would love for you to be a part, but I just don't want to.
It'll be in like we have a team assembled. All right. Ebo will be there to do one thing. Connor Griffin will be there to do another social thing. I think Cody is going to do clips for it. So we have a team.
If ever I'm working you too hard, you just let me know, and I will buy you another video game console.
Got it.
And win your favor. All right, that's the show. Enjoy the weekend, everybody. If you are in the Northeast, I don't know. What's the plan? What do you do? Just stay inside? Pray?
I guess so. Yeah. Go to Chicago.
Up? I don't know. Go to Chicago. Yeah. That's best of luck to you. Best of luck to all the teams participating in the. I'm cheering. I'm gonna call my shot. I am cheering for and also expect the. I'll root for Team Minahan. That would be cool because I think Kirk is the one guy that Brandon. He's the Joker to Brandon's Batman. If we're going back to Joker references, and I think that would if Kirk beats Brandon in the final, that would be delightful. So I think that's what I'm rooting for. Yeah, or El Prez, Dave Portnoy. I would love to see him. I would love to see him take the crown. My esteemed boss, the most honest man I know. That would be very cool. Also, if he won the championship and kind of raised the trophy to a raucous crowd. All right, that's the show. Watch the dozen tonight. Watch the finals, and we'll be back Monday night, TJ. Monday night is Game 5. Could be next time we're doing a show. We could be reacting to the Denver Nuggets winning the NBA championship, or maybe not, or maybe the Heat are up in the series. Who the hell knows? We'll see. But we'll see you guys after Game 5.